Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Time to Draw with Mr. Shaw. Today we're going to be drawing one of my favorite things to draw when I have nothing else to draw. I'm going to be drawing Spongebob Squarepants. As always, I'll start out with some simple shapes and I'll get more detailed as we go along. If you get stuck, you can pause the video, you can rewind it, you can watch it again as many times as you want. Let's go ahead and get started with Mr. Spongebob Squarepants. And the first thing I'm going to draw is not actually a square, but a rectangle. And I'm going to draw it in pretty lightly at first. I'm going to draw a nice big rectangle on my paper, just like this. Now, one thing that I like to do while drawing SpongeBob is I like to make him look a little bit three-dimensional. So instead of just being a rectangle, we're going to draw a shape called a rectangular prism. So I'm going to draw a diagonal line coming down from the top like this, and then another diagonal line coming up from the bottom like this. And then I'm going to connect those two with a pretty straight line that's parallel to this one. That means they go in the same direction, and if they continued forever, they would never ever touch. So this is pretty much the shape of SpongeBob SquarePants. But now we can start getting the details in. I actually like to start with the bottom and work my way up. So the first thing I'm going to draw is a straight line coming across the bottom just like this. And I can go ahead and darken in that rectangle a little bit right now, because that's going to be his square-shaped pants. Down at the bottom, I'm going to darken this in a little bit. I'm going to straighten up those lines on the edges. And then I'm going to draw SpongeBob's little tie and his little pants. I'm going to start here, right in the middle, with a circle. That's going to be the knot of SpongeBob's tie. And then I'm going to draw a diamond shape. I'm going to draw two diagonal lines coming down from that, and then two more diagonal lines coming back in and touching each other. Kind of looks like a little tiny tie. After that, I'm going to draw two triangles for the collar of SpongeBob's white shirt. And then I'm going to draw a straight line for his pants to separate his shirt from his pants, going all the way across. Now, when I touch that tie, I'm going to stop and then continue that line on the other side. Just like if I blocked part of my pencil with my hand, the pencil line would go here, stop, and then continue on the other side. After that, I can color in some little dark rectangles to look like SpongeBob's belt. It's going to go all the way across the front, and just like this line, it's going to continue around the side edge. Now, I'm sorry, I'm going to do his feet next. Underneath his body, we're going to draw two little rectangle shapes on either side. SpongeBob has kind of long, skinny legs, so I'm going to draw two parallel lines for each leg, 1, 2, and 1, 2. And then at the bottom of that, I'm actually going to draw a curved line on the ends of both of those. And then I'm going to wrap another curved line all the way around to look like those white socks that SpongeBob wears. After that, SpongeBob has kind of tricky feet. He wears little black heeled shoes. So one trick I've found that works really well is I'm going to draw a circle kind of coming off in this direction, and I'm going to color it in, and then I'm going to draw a little square in the back and color that in. If you want to give it a little heel, you can do that as well. But it kind of looks like SpongeBob's little heeled black shoes. You can do the same thing on the other foot. Draw a circle kind of coming off to the side first. I like to color that in. And then you could draw a little square behind that, and that'll give you that shape of his little shoes. Next, we're actually going to draw SpongeBob's arms. Now, for some reason, SpongeBob has a white sleeve of his shirt all the way up here coming out of his head instead of out of his actual shirt. I don't know how that works. It's a very strange cartoon. But to draw those sleeves, I'm going to draw a curved line at the top. Kind of looks like an upside down letter U. And then I'm going to draw another curved line like this. Now I'm going to make it look like SpongeBob's arm is coming out of there. So I'm going to draw two parallel lines pretty close to each other. SpongeBob has skinny arms. I'm going to have them come down first, and then I'm going to curve that elbow here and bring those two parallel lines up like that. Now if you want to erase that little line where the sleeve is overlapping his body, you could totally do that. And then on the other side, we're going to do the same kind of thing. Oop, I forgot to finish out this oval here. If you kind of curve that line around until it touches the arm and then color it in, it'll actually look like his arm is going inside of that kind of bell-shaped sleeve. On the other side though, I'm just going to draw a little bit of that curve peeking out and a little bit of that sleeve, but then I'm still going to do 2 diagonal parallel lines going down and then looping back up. Ooh, that's a little long. Now I can draw SpongeBob's hands. Now I want SpongeBob to be kind of opening his hands out, spreading his hands. There's a good reason for that. So I'm going to start with his thumb, and I'm just going to draw a little curve coming up like his thumb. And then starting on the back part of his hand, I'm going to draw 3 bumps. 1, 2, 3 for SpongeBob's fingers. Now, humans have 4 fingers, but he's a sponge. He lives in a pineapple at the bottom of the sea. So he only has 3 fingers. I'm going to draw a little line here and a little curved line here to look like that wrinkle where your fingers meet your hand, as well as that curve where your thumb muscle comes into the rest of your hand. And then I'm going to do that exact same thing on the other side, but kind of the mirror image of it, the flipped image of that. So I'm going to have the thumb pointed up with that little bump on it, and then I'm going to draw 3 bumps for the fingers. 1, 2, 3, and a little line. And that looks like SpongeBob so far. So let's get his face in. Now, before I draw his face, I'm actually going to darken in the rest of that rectangle, but I'm going to do it with kind of a bumpy line. SpongeBob doesn't have straight, smooth sides like this. The spongy parts of his body, that yellow part of his body, is actually kind of porous and yellow and absorbent. So I want to give it those bumps going all the way around. And now he looks a little bit more like a sponge on top with those really hard edges for his square pants down at the bottom. Now we can start making it look like SpongeBob. So I'm going to give him 2 nice big circle-shaped eyes all the way in the middle of his face. They should be either touching each other or almost touching each other. I'm going to have mine touch just a little bit as I darken in these circles. Inside of those, I'm going to draw 2 sets of circles. That doesn't mean I'm drawing 2 circles in total. I'm going to draw 2 sets of 2. I'm going to draw a larger circle, and then I'm going to color in a black circle inside of that. Now, if you get to color your SpongeBob, SpongeBob has blue eyes, so that part that you're not coloring in black, you would color blue. But if you're just using a pencil like me, you can leave it like that, and it'll look a lot like SpongeBob. On top of his eyes, we're going to do 3 eyelashes on top of each eye. And then for his nose, we're just going to draw most of a long oval. Now it kind of looks like a long stretched out sideways letter U. It would almost look like an oval if I finished that shape over here, but I don't want to finish that line. In fact, I'm even going to erase the bottom of that eye where the nose overlaps it. And then I'm going to draw a little curved line here for his upper lip coming down from his nose. And then I'm going to curve that all the way back around to under his other eye. I'm going to draw a little line here and a little curve for his cheek. SpongeBob has little freckles there if you want to add those. I'm going to give him his very famous 2 big front teeth. And then I'm going to draw a curved line coming from this little dimple here all the way around to the other side of his mouth. If you want to, draw that kind of bumpy letter M shape inside of his mouth for the tongue, you can. I like to color in the rest of his mouth. Another thing I like to do to make it look like SpongeBob is lightly draw in some of those circle spongy shapes that he has all over his face and his body. And there you go. That's a nice picture of Spongebob Squarepants. Now, you could stop here, or you could draw a setting. You could add some additional details. If you want to draw a setting, make sure you draw that horizontal line going all the way across your picture. It's called a horizon line, and it shows us where the ground is and where the sky is. Now, since he lives in a town called Bikini Bottom, there's some very famous looking buildings there. I could have this curved shape with a nice curved door on it, a little doorknob, some circle shaped windows, and this is actually SpongeBob's pineapple at the bottom of the sea that he lives in. I can give it that crisscross line pattern to give it that pineapple texture. And as we all know, SpongeBob's next door neighbor is my favorite character, Squidward, and he has kind of a rectangle shaped house. Start out with a rectangle like this. I like to draw kind of like a block letter T, if you know how to do block letters. Put a big old capital T in the middle of Squidward's house with 2 circles for eyes and a rounded door and some little rectangles for the ears, because Squidward lives in a house that kind of looks like one of those Easter Island sculptures, one of those tiki heads, or however you would describe that. Now, the shape of SpongeBob's hands looks very similar to a meme I've seen rolling around the internet, a nice rainbow meme. So if you want, you can actually draw sets of curved lines going from hand to hand, almost like SpongeBob is spreading a little rainbow, spreading a little bit of cheer during these strange times. If any of you or your families are participating in that 518 rainbow hunt, this would be a great picture to put in your window for people to try to find while they're walking around the neighborhood, trying to get some fresh air, but not being around other people, just getting outside, getting some sunshine while the weather's nice. If you finished your picture, snap a photo of that, send it to me on Class Dojo if you're a Henry Johnson Charter School scholar. I hope everyone had fun drawing along with me today. If there's something you'd like to learn how to draw, please comment below and I'll add it to my list of videos coming over the next couple of weeks. And as always, stay safe, wash your hands, and I'll see you next time.